Stanisław Barszczak, The Boys from Warsaw, Aleje Ujazdowskie Avenue. In each march for independence, patriotism penetrates the everyday reality that has always been the center of human interest, and places everyday heroes in the foreground of 2020 in Warsaw, at the same time giving viewers, because the march can be watched live, a moving story about violence and powerlessness, cruelty and innocence. The word march, let me remind you, in the March for Independence, we are walking or riding free with flags since 2015, is related to the flowing river. Here I refer the reader to my essay on the 100th anniversary of Poland regaining independence, entitled Captain's Redoubt. The current of the Vistula River, the first river of the homeland, on November 11, seems to be faster, and these current Polish patriots, whole families from Poland arriving by cars on the Independence Day in the capital, walking along the Poniatowski Bridge towards the Washington roundabout, they pass towards the future and create a symbol in the chain of generations. They move symbolically towards the best values of tomorrow for mankind, but at the same time show the last attachment to the Republic of Poland. Each year, the Independence March becomes a huge symbol of our native feelings. It is an appeal for us to look higher at ourselves clearly. The March of Independence needs to be the most colorful contemporary image of Polish national consciousness. The March of Independence is like an attack on the far right against a commander-in-chief and accusing him of national treason, I would even say here. As a result, his middle-aged wife abandons him overnight. Likewise, overnight, he himself makes the decision to move out of the house. He gives up his orders, gets in the car, and wanders the northwestern part of the country for a few months. When tired of wandering, he returns to Warsaw and asks his friends to stay overnight. A commander-in-chief has something much better to offer: an abandoned house in the mountains that belonged to his father, a famous painter. In a new, inspiring environment, the protagonist intends to live a quiet life devoted to creativity, and uses the master studio, begins to conduct painting lessons in the nearby studio, and engages in insignificant romances. For the protagonist, this house becomes the epicenter of change and a special form of rebirth in both art and life. The first episode of this transformation will be the discovery of an unknown painting by an old master in the attic, an almost faithful recreation of the scene of famous Pietà by Leonardo da Vinci. From the moment of this discovery, the realistic narrative is gradually intertwined with serial themes, and the plot will be populated by extraordinary characters who embody symbols, ideas, and metaphors, etc. The Independence March is a moving meditation on human fate, memory, and history, the mysteriousness of intimate relationship, and above all, the mystery of the meeting of youth and old age. The March of Independence reflects a piece of Polish history, like a mirror, with everything that is dramatic, painful, concealed, and unsaid. Most of all, however, it is about how the passing of time leaves an imprint on people's experience of themselves and the world. The beautiful, profound truth, the acuteness of observation, and a kind of tenderness towards men are intertwined here with the symbolic dimension. The Independence March is like the frames from the Polish movies, most watched Polish series titled For Tankman and the Dog, or The Stake Greater Than Life. We are a hot group of left-wing groups demonstrating in defense of abortion, against which Polish churches had to be defended this year. Also, the attack of a cutthroat in Poznań city, or the attack of the police with truncheons in Wołomin village. We are in the middle of winter now, in the human heart. I mean now the Independence March as an extraordinary love story of two people who thought that winter had already reigned in their lives. Here, in the middle of a snowstorm, 60-year-old Richard Fibak, a university professor, drives into the trunk of Evelina Ortega's car, a young illegal immigrant from Guatemala in the Polish capital. What at first seemed to be just a minor accident becomes much more serious and unexpected the moment Evelina comes to the professor's doorstep in search of help. Embarrassed by the whole situation, not understanding what the girl is saying in Spanish, he asks for help from his tenant Lucia Meyer, a 62-year-old Chilean who has come to Poland for a while with a series of literary lectures at the same university where Richard is teaching. These completely different people set out on a dramatic and extraordinary adventure that takes place in the Slavic Polish capital. But it is in the past that the heroes find the inner strength. For Lucia and Richard, it will be above all a new chance for love. The March for Polish Independence is finally like our boys from Aleje Ujazdowskie Avenue in Warsaw at the same time. Although I would not like to omit anyone here, or like the boats from which you fish, and the fishes are attracted to strong artificial light. Boys from the infamous neighborhood of our city who, let's say, practice regattas and sea, roam the city, hunting the people and marking the area. At the same time, however, deluded by the illusion of money and power, they themselves are like fish that, once caught in a net, flutter in it, still full of life but already close to death. 10 boys ride scooters then upstream along the narrow streets of the old town in Warsaw, intending to subjugate the city. They are 15 years old, normal families and innocent nicknames, Maharaja, Śnieżka Fish, Ząbek, etc. They wear designer shoes and they tattoo girls' names on their skin. Juvenile offenders seem to know they have no future, but they are not afraid of imprisonment or death because they decided that their only chance was to put their lives on one card, and as soon as possible. They know that money has those who take it, not those who wait for someone to give it to them. So they set off into the city on their scooters to get money and, above all, power. Fire groups, led by the teenage Nick, are gaining ground in the city's criminal hierarchy. They learn to shoot on the roofs of houses, aiming at satellite dishes with Kalashnikovs and semi-automatic pistols. Then they go down to the streets and spread fear from the saddles of the scooters. They gradually take control of entire city districts, winning rivalries with other gangs and getting along with the old bosses who have the best times behind them. 9 p.m. is coming soon. The festive mood of television affects everyone. I wish the whole nation, together with the President and the Prime Minister, and all people of Poland, that in the future we would never regret our health at work for independent Poland. There are fewer voices in Aleje Ujazdowskiej Avenue now, but there are still a lot of lights. And everyone says to each other, we'll meet here next year because you are at home, the closest to our beloved motherland. Thank you.